All right, here we go. Another episode. We got another episode of the Gamma Wave right here, and this is a special one. It's a really, really special one because I get to sit down with one of my good buddies. We go back all the way to high school. We were just talking about that before we got on live here, and I want to get right to it. As you know, Gamma Wave, the show, we talk about gaming, we talk about anime, movies, music, arts, and we fuse it together with health and pop culture. And it's about unlocking your flow state. We're all creatives, we're all working towards something. And sometimes we just need a little fuel in our tank to keep us going. And so that's what this podcast is all about. And I have a really awesome guest with us today. And I'm going to go ahead and get to this introduction because I'm excited. I don't want to waste time talking about me. I want to get to this guy. So let's get this intro. And I'm reading it straight off the little script here. So bear with me. I usually try to memorize these things, but I'm going to go ahead and read it. So today's episode is far more than fitness, it's about mindset. This is about protecting the next generation. This is about becoming stronger mentally, physically, spiritually in a world that constantly tells people and tests people's focus and identity. Today, we're joined by someone whose message can be summarized in three powerful words: God, family, and protecting the youth. Martin has built a reputation not only through fitness and discipline, but through the impact he's had on people around him, from helping clients build confidence to captivating audiences on screen. His journey reflects a deeper purpose behind the work he does. In this episode, we're diving into training myths, discipline culture, mental grounding, nutrition, resilience, failure, success, and the deeper purpose behind self improvement. And of course, because this is the Gamma Wave show, you know we have to talk about some of those pop culture things. And Martin, he definitely, I think we're like two peas in the pod because he mentioned Wolverine, he mentioned Deadpool, Frank Castle, and some of the stories that help shape us into the people that we are long before the gym ever shapes us. So, whether you're here to level up your body, sharpen your mind, or just simply hear a real conversation with real purpose behind it, welcome to the wave. Ah, woo.
Bro, that's a great introduction, bro. I didn't know like when to chime in, but no, I appreciate that for sure, bro. That was a 10 out of 10 introduction, man. I appreciate it. And I'm very excited to be here. I know we were talking briefly before we started recording, but brother, I'm so excited to be here and I can't wait to dive into this stuff.
Of course, man. If you're gonna be a guest on my show, and especially the first, ever official guest, I have to roll out the red carpet. I have to do it official. That's the only way we do it over here.
Super appreciate it, bro. Super appreciate it.
So I want us to get right into this because when people hear about you're a fitness coach, they think workouts, they think aesthetics. But when you think about your mission, what are you really trying to build in people?
Well, I feel like that's how it's gonna start for a lot of people. It'll start aesthetically, for when I was a boy, just kind of speaking on my testimony, my experience. When I got into the gym, I was very insecure. I was a skinny kid. I come from a lean background, boxing background, so a lot of cardio, a lot of calisthenics, working with your body weight. I was very insecure, you know what I'm saying? So it's just always understanding where I come from, you know what I mean? And understand what it took me to kind of become in the physicality that I'm in today. Now, I don't sit here and be like, yo, I'm the strongest, I'm the fastest. It'll never be that. But I've significantly shown through consistency that I'm able to make changes to my body in a very, beautiful way. Some ways I didn't even think were possible as a kid. But my overall mission, to answer your question, is to kind of put the belief back in people, to kind of give them back that warrior spirit, and I don't have all the answers. We do it together. That's the beauty about it. That's the beauty about the collaboration. That's the beauty about the teacher and student. You know what I'm saying? At any moment, the roles could be switched, and that's a beautiful thing. So putting the belief back in people, I think, would be the answer to that one.
Man, I'm just gonna go a little off script. I know we have questions, and I just want to say, if I was a client of yours, I would definitely be coming back because of what you just said. The dynamic between teacher and student, it can change at any moment. Like, if
Oh,
you're
for
listening
sure.
to this, like, take that in, because that means that someone like you're not coming into that interaction as like, oh, I know everything and you got to listen to everything I tell you. No, it's, I have some experience I can share. I have some insight I can help you out with. And then ultimately, you may end up learning some things from the person you're helping, which is just, it just shows your humility. It shows the type of character that you have, which is, again, like, that's so cool.
Yeah, appreciate that, bro. For sure.
And the since we're going to talk about some myths, because the gym is full of myths. We have social media, we have the popular opinion about things, and you shared with me a few myths that you want to discuss today. And so, a lot of people, they still believe that they can burn fat from a specific area of the body, and specifically like, oh, I want to lose like the gut fat, or I want to lose fat around like my neck or something. Why do people think that? Like, why does that myth survive?
Man, I don't know if it's seeking too much misinformation, putting the wrong people in the spotlight of that culture, when it comes to fitness. Now, I'm not saying everybody, because there are people out there fighting the good fight, really going for the health and wellness, for the health and wellness, for the longevity of it, not just the aesthetics of it. Why do myths still stand? I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure why they still stand, but to kind of double down on that myth that you just said, for example, if we wanted to get our abs, um, it wouldn't just be doing sit ups, it wouldn't just be building that muscle, but we would also have to take a look at nutrition. We'd have to take a look at sleep. We would have to take a look at vitamins. We'd have to take a look at so many different things. And even though it sounds like a lot, if you're speaking to somebody who enjoys this realm, who enjoys this culture, that notation, that taking down the notes of my client or whatever it may be, it's fun. It becomes very easy for me. It's just having that person open up and be vulnerable about their habits, about what they're currently going through. So that's where that teacher student element comes again. You know what I'm saying? So um, the best thing you can do to knock off the myths is just to try it yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's the best experience you can do, and that's the way I try to live my life, is just trying to do it myself. But there is really no specific way for us to like target our abs and burn body fat just in that specific area. You have to take a look at the body as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Which is going to call for a little bit of resistance training, which will be lifting the weights, and then a little bit of cardio, or what people like to call hit the high intensity interval training, which just means keeping your heart rate, higher during your workout, keeping the rest periods shorter, jumping right back into your set. Um, but yeah, I think it's just taking a look at those elements and, not having a checklist to do every single time. And then you kind of fall off track because you're not checking every single box. You know what I mean? So,
And I like the way you put it, because there's an order to tackling the fat loss goal. There's sleep, there's nutrition, there's your workouts, and you specifically mentioned both cardio and resistance training. But the most important part of that is telling or asking yourself, where are you getting this information from? If you're hearing this information of, oh, you can just lose fat here by doing this, to me, I always go by the philosophy, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And
I'll tell you something. There's always something at the end of that. Yeah.
so and so do you think social media, before and after culture, kind of feeds into this, or what are your thoughts on that?
just feel like if social media is leveled correctly, it could be very beneficial. What I've found as of lately, in which I haven't been consistent, is just again sharing my testimony, my experiences, jumping on IG story, maybe shooting a 5, 10 minute video of just behind the scenes, if you call it, just like day-to-day stuff. Um, but yeah, be more informational, be more intentional, not just with your workouts when you step into the gym, but when you're also on social media. And I get it. Some people just use it to scroll. Some people use it just to post highlights. Some people just use it for X, Y, and Z. But if you feel you're called to really share like your testimony, you have a business idea, you're an entrepreneur, you feel God is calling you to go to that next level, don't be afraid to step in front of the camera and speak your truth. You're going to stumble, you're going to mumble, you're going to feel like at times you're going to ramble, but over the consistency and the repetition, you'll be able to structure everything a little bit better. I still struggle sometimes with that when I do podcast interviews. I double down on an answer and I don't feel like I want to rant as I feel like I'm doing now as a prime example. But yeah, exactly that, man.
By the way, you're welcome to ramble. We have this Zoom. I'm not sponsored by Zoom. I don't get paid by Zoom, but we have this unlimited recording. We can record 30 hours. So if you end up ranting for 29 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, that is a okay.
I want to give you plenty of content, bro. Of course, I plan on being open and honest, but I want to give you all the content, bro, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, it's about following your calling, because I hear in your response there's a calling nature, and not only that, almost a calling to share your own personal experience and testimony, uh, and it's two in one, because while they may be two separate things, they're almost connected, and I kind of hear that duality as you talk about this gym presence versus your personal purpose, your personal experience, uh, experiences as well. So I like that duality of that.
Appreciate it, man. I mean, kind of tying that all in a bow in a way. I feel like if my workouts are A1, my life is somewhat there as well. My workouts are A1, my life is pretty much A1. Because if I feel my best, I'm able to go to work my best. I'm able to provide for my lady, my dog, my best, be there for my family at my best. It's not just being the biggest guy on the street. You know what I'm saying? So I've always focused on, sure, we can get bigger, we can get leaner, but let's focus more so on strength and conditioning so we can be there for everybody I just listed. You know what I mean? So
Mhm. Yeah, and it's a well-rounded perspective. And have you ever had a client that was frustrated because they were working hard, but maybe they were targeting the wrong expectation?
some people want to dive in way off the deep end too soon. Um, people just need to understand everybody has a starting point. Everybody was once an amateur before they got good, before they got great, before they turned professional in whatever industry that they're in. I do believe, a person on day one who's doing their first rep and a person who's just finishing up their thousandth rep, two completely different mindsets. So that's also something to take into consideration. That also means like if you've taken a break as well, a few months because life, because you just had a child, because it's a new job, you've been traveling, whatever it may be, um, the ability to bounce back, man. There's just something about a good like comeback story, and it's for you. It's yours. Like Caleb has his own comeback story. Martin has his own comeback story. You know, everybody has that. It's just some people throw in the towel too soon, man. I've done that here and there. I've had moments where like, man, this is just too much weight. And then this is where it can kind of go spiritual in a way. This is where it started to go spiritual. Physically in the gym, it seems like it's a lot of weight. Spiritually, if you feel like you're carrying a lot of weight, some of that weight isn't meant for you to carry. You know what I'm saying? So all this energy that you're bottling up inside, everything that you feel like you're just maxing out and it's up to here for you, it has to go somewhere. Some people find it through the gym. That's where they exert their energy. Some people like to pray and meditate. That's something that I've also really enjoyed doing. Working out now at this level, being in the game for 10 years has become very spiritual for me. I feel like that's where I'm at the level. The physicality is cool. We can check in on the body. That's great. But it's so much more of like a spiritual transformation for me now. And I found that through the gym. So
Yeah, I love the integration of body, mind, and spirit. And just if you're listening, This is the Gamma Wave podcast, but it's brought to you by Empowerment Essentials, which one of their slogans is it's more than nourishment. It's more than nutrition. It's nourishment for your body, mind, and spirit. And you basically beautifully articulated how going to the gym is more than just the physical part. It's a nice benefit, and as you've maintained it over the years, you've had this deeper connection with what it brings back to you as far as like the benefits for like your mental health, your spiritual journey, which is, it's awesome. And that can definitely be something that helps a client, helps a newcomer or someone who's just stuck, realizing that your expectations can help your motivation or kill your motivation. If your expectations are way out of line, you may not stick with it. And I think you posted something the other day, or you shared something the other day on Instagram that said, after your first rep, you're not going to be good, but after your thousandth rep, you won't suck. And
No, for sure, bro.
I think everything you said just hit, like, again, that articulates it very beautifully, because it's about the process. It sounds cliche, but really it's about who you become as you're trying to become who you are. So, yeah.
No, it is, man. It's understanding everybody has a day one, and it's okay. It's okay to not be good right out the gate. That's kind of the point there. My dog wants to join us on this episode. Let me see if we can get him in for a quick second.
All right. Well,
He's
okay.
he's chilling.
I like the side. Did you see the side eye? I'm gonna put that back in like
Oh
replay slow
man,
motion.
he just chugged a whole bunch of water, and I was ready for another nap. You know, but
Living the life.
yeah, that's Marlowe. Yeah, my German Shepherd. He's 2 years old. Honestly, he's brought a lot of joy to my life. But that's we'll talk. We can talk about that later. But no, understanding, bro, that everybody does have a day one, and it's okay to quote unquote suck in the beginning. Like it's fine. Um, but you have the ability to make a choice, though. You have the ability to make a choice. You know what I'm saying? To push past your limit. That's why when the physicality starts to break down, when the body starts to break down, that's when the mindset's got to really like be there. Yeah, and that's something that you have to train too. It's not something to where it just kicks on like a light switch. Some people have that ability because they've worked on it, but it's a skill that you have to obtain. Mind, body, and spirit all play a factor on all levels.
And you actually made a really great segue to this next myth, which is, in quotes, no pain, no gain. People, I feel like they wear suffering and they promote suffering like a badge of honor when it comes to fitness and working out. Like, if you didn't completely destroy your body, it's like you didn't gain anything. Where do you think that mentality comes from?
Man, I used to be that. I used to be that person. Exactly what you just said. You need to like destroy yourself and rebuild yourself. To some extent, that is true. But to take it into like somebody who's entry level, who's just coming in, um, no pain, no gain is I kind of do like that. Don't get me wrong, but again, to a certain extent, you have to really know what your body is asking for. You have to know, again, there's levels to this. You don't want to just jump in and max out, for example. The pain and gain is just the hype. It's just the hype. I think it's just another terminology to get people hyped to like the movie Pain and Gain and be all jacked and stuff like that. I think pain and gain needs to be more so of a motivation than an actual like let's go into the gym and you know what I mean? I think if we use that more as like just something that we can keep in our mind, no pain, no gain. I think that's probably push past your limit. That's probably what it means. To me, that's what that would mean. It's really try to push past your limit. You have the ability to do so. You think you're on your last rep, try to go for another 3 to 4. Um, and don't think like you're on this journey by yourself. Why not message somebody, hit somebody up who you see who's being consistent, have them go to the gym with you. Like I got a workout buddy that he's a good brother of mine, and I've been training with him for like 8, 9 years. I was in Mesa for 4 years. As soon as my lease ended up a few weeks ago, I ended up moving back to Phoenix, Glendale. That's where I'm currently at. First day, we started linking up together, and I already knew it was go time. What I'm trying to say is, don't think you're on this journey alone. Iron sharpens iron. You got to find your training partner. You got to find your accountability partner, somebody who's going to hold you accountable and be like, hey, dog, not only just in your food, what you're doing outside of the gym, but if Caleb, we've been working out for a while, bro, and we're doing incline dumbbell press, I know you can go heavier. sprinkle just a touch of ego, and I mean that in a very like gentle way. I don't mean that in an egotistical way. But I got your back. I'm about to spot you. I know you can go a lot heavier. Let's go a little bit heavier. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by that. But it's the fun, it's the play. That's what it's going to transcend to eventually. You know what I'm saying? You're going to end up going to the gym. You're going to end up, this is my theme park. This is my fun. And you'll find that your program is going to switch. Um, yeah, man, that's what it's been for me. I already forgot the question. I'm sorry.
I feel like you nailed that question between or and that myth, no pain, no gain. And you said, pain and gain, it's about balance. It's about pushing yourself to the limit, but not past the point of breakdown, because there is that little gray area, that little sliver of margin of, I guess, where it goes to everything goes to crap versus, okay, you're not really pushing yourself to see anything. And I know you know this because when you're trying to train for hypertrophy, you're training for strength. If you're not putting intense enough weight in your hands or on your back or on the legs or wherever, you're not challenging the muscle. And I call it very fancy cardio. That's my word for it when I work with clients. Maybe you have a different euphemism. And so when your partner is holding you accountable and they're saying, "Hey, let's get that extra rep in," that's because the difference between growth and being stagnant is your comfort level. In other words,
And it's such a small gap too. It's such a mindset. Comfort lives in your mind, dude. That's literally where it's at. Because if you close your eyes and you jump into it, like you have your people around you and you jump into it, you know you're safe, you know they got you. Why wouldn't you? You could physically see it and you're not willing to do it. But now you can see it, you're like, oh man, it's too far, or the weight is too heavy. And you actually beautifully said this as well. The word that I wanted to highlight that you said was intensity. You don't have to change up nothing you're doing. If we have the ability to just ramp up the intensity, bro, we can see the change. We can push past the quote unquote plateau. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to change nothing about your workout, just up the intensity. Now, that could mean, again, that high intensity interval training, doing the same exact thing you've been doing, just ramp it up on the intensity. That could be doing more reps, maybe increasing it by 5, 10 pounds if we're talking about dumbbells, whatever it may be. Not doing so much so soon, but just you have to increase that intensity. The body, if you're being consistent, has the ability to pick up stuff very, very quick. We just did this last week, bro. I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? So we have to increase the weight. We got to switch it up. We got to find different ways to challenge ourselves. Breaking down the body, kind of circling back to pain and gain. Sometimes it's going to ask for that. You are breaking down the body. It is calling for the physicality. Like you're exposing yourself. You're exposing your weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? That is a little bit embarrassing in the public eye, but again, you get to a level where it's like the more I expose my weaknesses in this environment, the more I'm actually increasing my weaknesses in this environment. You know what I'm saying? So with the image that we grow into as grown men, bro, and God giving you the ability to have any type of leadership, any type of stewardship, any type of influence, I feel like I am called to not only fight that good fight, not only because of the same people who look like me, walk like me, talk like me. And I don't mean that just by skin color or because somebody got a beard, I can relate to them. This is all walks of life. I feel like we have the ability to create that safety net for them because we know what it's like, bro, to be a little insecure, to be embarrassed, to walk around and just not be comfortable in your own skin. Like, been there, done that. So now on the other side of that, I'm just like, yo, if I could be a shield for somebody by just being a little bit more vulnerable, by sharing my testimony, being open and honest and communicating well, bro, I'm so game for it. Like, let's do it.
wow, wow, that vulnerability, and that speaks to one of those values you had of protecting the youth and looking out for them. So I imagine, in the gym, that's a great place to meet all sorts of people from all different walks of life. And if you're like, I feel like we're kind of similar in this way, where we're not going to solicit or give unsolicited advice. We're
Right.
not. I don't think we're like those guys, but I think the way we are, it's like we do our thing, and then we may have someone just come up and casually ask a question because they're genuinely interested in what you're doing and like why you're doing things a certain way. Like they've been watching maybe from afar, and then they've built up enough curiosity to say like, "Hey, Martin, like I see like these other guys in the gym. they're just like working out until like they're completely like exhausted, but and like the point that's like it's overkill. But I see like you're not going to that point, and your results are amazing. Like, what are you doing? So I imagine you may be having those moments at the gym with the youth. And is that something? I guess can you speak to that?
Yeah, bro, I love seeing the younger guys that are hungry and wanting to get active. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, it's automatic in my mind went to the people who are kind of overdoing it too early, taking steroids, doing the peptides, doing all this extra stuff, loading themselves up too soon, to where, man, you could just do so much naturally, bro. Like experience life, grow into your body fully. Like men are not done growing until they're 25, or I don't know what that is, but um, you got to give your body some time to grow. And I'm targeting the people who are like 18 to like under that, 25 and under.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Social media influencers and stuff like that. I just try to lead by example, bro. I just really try to lead by example as much as I can. I don't try to gatekeep anything. The information is free because the information is out there. I only try to give my information through my experiences. And what a beautiful opportunity that we would both have. If you come to me and I don't know the answer, we can research and find out together. Next day, we can implement it and see how we feel. Or implement what we just found out for like a week or a month to see how our body's responding to that. But the youth need to understand, yeah, give yourself some time. There's no rush in this life. There's no need to rush in this life with this whole busy, busy, busy. I need to book something every month. I need to cook something every month. Like, just chill out a second. You know what I'm saying? Make this a lifestyle. That's what it is. I understand from the starting point how it could become, I need this, I need this, I need this. But you step into this culture, man, it's got to be something that you're willing to give, not necessarily willing to get right off the bat. So it's a lot of giving before you can receive anything. And I'm talking about you got to put in the energy, you got to put in the discipline, you got to put in the time before you see anything back.
Man, those are some nuggets of wisdom. If you're listening, again, this is the Gamma Wave podcast, and the nuggets that Martin's dropping. When I go back to rewatch and edit, I'm gonna pull out in timeline all the nuggets of wisdom that you're dropping because you just dropped probably like 5 years worth of game that people will struggle before they start seeing progress with something in the matter of like 5 minutes. So really take that to heart. And I want to get to some more myths here before we change gears. Let's see. There's three more. I want to do at least one or two more. Maybe you have some
Okay.
favorites, but I definitely want to tackle this next one, which is cardio is the only way to lose weight. A lot of people think fat loss automatically means endless cardio. Like I need to be the cardio king or queen. I need to spend endless hours on the treadmill and running. Why has that become the default belief?
With cardio, man, it's hit or miss, man. It's hit or miss. Do we need cardio in our life? Absolutely. Am I personally, me, needing to do more cardio? I'll be honest. Yeah. Let's be real. Yeah,
Me too.
same. Same, but my whole mindset on cardio, man, is sure it's a great way to burn body fat, but if you only do cardio, your body's going to show up pretty flat. You need something to resist against that. That's where what we enjoy, the resistance training, picking two muscle groups, and really targeting those muscles. Why is it that cardio and let me give you a certain pill that's going to help you burn body fat? It's just again to sell you something. You know what I'm saying? You need a little bit of resistance training. You need a little bit of cardio. No matter what your goals are. If you're trying to get big, if you're trying to get lean, you need both resistance training and cardio. You don't necessarily just need a treadmill. You can go for a walk. I'm also a firm believer in right after you eat something, go for a walk 10 to 15 minutes later. You'll actually help the food break down a little bit better. As we get older, you think, oh, my metabolism this, my metabolism that. Your metabolism comes from like how active you are, what you're eating on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't come from how old I am. Sure, a 20-year-old can process things faster than a 40-year-old. That's just because of the gap. But I'm just saying, bro. But yeah, resistance training, cardio, and nutrition are literally the key components on all of that. And think of cardio as working out your heart, working out your lungs. If you're somebody who drinks, if you're somebody who smokes, and you're somebody who's trying to detox, like detoxifying your lungs from all that garbage. You know what I mean? I'm also a firm believer in putting yourself in high high temperature elements. What I mean by that, whether that be a cold plunge or whether that be a sauna room or a steam room, I'm a huge fan of all of the above. But yeah, don't just do cardio. I don't care what your goals are. Don't just do cardio. Now, if it's cardio versus nothing, then yeah, cardio is going to win every time. But if it's cardio versus, what we're talking about, then let's add a few more things, so
Yeah, man, I love everything you said. That's like literally said those things verbatim to clients I've worked with, and you have to have that balance between cardio and resistance. And I love the way you put it as a spectrum because I think that's how we avoid the all or nothing approach. Because if the best you can do at this moment in time is go for a walk, you can't get to the gym, it's hard to do body weight exercises. Okay, we'll go for a walk. That's accessible. It's the low hanging fruit. Definitely do that. If you have resistance training accessible, definitely have it because there's so many benefits. Because the way your body shows up in different situations, I always say this to all my clients, regardless of age, whether it's the 18-year-old or the 80-year-old, I say some form of resistance training can be helpful. The more you challenge yourself in the gym in those ways, the easier life becomes because now going for a walk up the stairs is no longer a hurdle. Walking a long distance from from the car to the store and walking around the mall, that's no longer an issue. Getting up and down from the couch or from the toilet is no longer like I need an assist for because you literally challenge yourself to the point to where everything else in life is a walk in the park, like a breeze. And I want to get back to that sauna or the extreme temperature thing because I see the stories that you have on Instagram. I'm just like,
every
dang,
time I'm in dungeon.
I need to get to the I need to get to the sauna room. I think the best I could do is a sauna suit. So the thing that I want to do it for is for the detox purpose. But what are some benefits that you do it for, including if it's detox as well?
Man, so definitely detoxifies everything. I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to vape, so it helps me with that a lot, a lot. It literally just takes your body to the next level. It's good for your hair, skin, and nails. I could jot those bullet points down. Obviously, detoxing, as we just talked about, it's a very mental game. As soon as you walk in there, if it's been a while, you're going to be challenged with your breathing because, I mean, yesterday I went to EOS on 83rd and Thunderbird. Those are like the old stomping grounds. I've been going there for like 10 years, and I'm so excited to be back, bro. Like, so excited. But yeah, that sauna, bro, got up to 210, 220 the whole time I got in there. And I was with my buddy. We were there for probably 45 minutes in that sauna room. Now, we not just winging it, bro. Like, been in the game for a while. So we got towels to consistently kind of wipe yourself so your body can keep, detox and sweating. And then you got your water too, bro. Like, your water is your oxygen in there. If it's a little bit of salt to kind of keep up on the electrolytes or a little bit of the liquid IV to help you, whatever. But we're not just going in there blindly. So, but what I've been finding lately, bro, been going to that location past 2 weeks and a lot of youth coming in, bro, and all different shapes and sizes that are hungry for it, bro. And it just, and like, as we see the older people who are still getting after it and that they're just like, you know what, age is nothing but a number and it inspires us 30-year-olds trying to do the same for the 20-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? And they have a great starting point more so than what we had. They're starting at 18, 19. Now, if I was where I'm at right now at 18, 19, as that always goes, we'd be in a different place. Not that it's about that, but I try to encourage that because, hey, stay exactly where you're at. Don't fall off track because you're at a great starting point. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? No matter what your goals are, man, if you step into a sauna room, it'll just elevate you mentally. It'll help you also stay working out a little bit longer because now you're at the level to where you're understanding your breathing when you're put into the uncomfortability, not just under some heavy weight, but it's very beneficial overall, bro. If you haven't done it in a while, I suggest, of course, having your water start 15 to 20 minutes if you can. You got to push past what you think you can do for a little bit. Don't go until you're dizzy or seeing stars or about to pass out. You know what your body is telling you. So I hope at least if you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, get to a point where you can stay in there for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So I really, just to kind of give like my blueprint on working out. I'm working out with my buddy. As soon as we walk into the sauna room, we spend about 6, 7 minutes into the sauna, kind of catching up, visualizing our workout, and then we'll go kill it for like 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And then when we come back to the locker room, we change out, hit the sauna room for another 45 minutes, try and push and rest and recover and stretch. You know what I mean? So it's a full process. It's a full process. And you kind of take your own process and again, making the videos, doing the content, you give other people the ability to take a look at their process and be like, man, I'm not really making changes. Let me listen to what Caleb has to say. Let me try what Martin is trying just to see. Because Caleb is making a lot of change. Martin is making a lot of change. Let me just add 2 bullet points that they're talking about, and I'll come back in a month, in a few weeks, and see how everything is looking. So
I love that blueprint. Martin, you're providing so much value, and
I feel
you've
like I'm rambling sometimes, bro. I don't want to feel like I'm rambling, but thank you,
oh
thank you.
man, so many nuggets of wisdom and insight because it's the small details. You've heard this, the devil's in the details. You can easily get tripped up because you miss one little thing like, oh, hydration, oh, my electrolytes, getting sodium. You could easily trip up over things like that. So the knowledge that you're providing, guys out there, girls out there, everyone in between, listen to what's being said because this can help you. This could be the difference between where you are and where you're trying to get to. And Martin, to be respectful of your time, there were a couple more, but if you absolutely are like, Caleb, I want to get these other two, and if your time allows that, we can definitely hit it. Um,
Oh, I'm open, bro. I got no rush. I
all
want to
right.
respect your time as well, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So we kind of talked about the sweating more means a better workout with the sauna one. So I think that hit the nail pretty good on the head there. So this final myth is is something that I think for uh, our women, lady listeners out there, this isn't just like a guy, hang out locker room sesh, whatever. Like this is for everybody. And this next myth is something that's very common. Like I'm surprised it's been out there for so long. And you probably know what I'm about to say, but it's lifting weights makes women like look bulky and like get swolled up like some big bodybuilder. So that myth, why are so many women afraid to lift weights? Like, what do you like? Where do you think that comes
Because of
from?
exactly what you just said. Exactly. Why are they afraid to lift weights? Because I don't want to look like a dude, bro. But it's like you won't. Your body's not designed to look like a man. So if you lift weights, you're just gonna tighten up and tone. Now obviously if again you're loading up, you're adding a lot of stuff to your body, you can fill in the blank, whatever that means. Um, Unnecessary stuff is what I'm saying. That's when you'll start to make those type of gains. But women and like females, their bodies are not designed to get jacked. Their bodies are now, yes, to get strong, to be physically fit, to be fast, to be flexible. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? But to be jacked, no, women are not designed to be jacked. What I'm trying to say is if you are a woman and you're jacked, that's perfectly fine. But just to kill that myth, you know what I'm saying? Just to kind of put that to rest already. If you're a female and you're thinking about getting into weightlifting, try it. Trust me, it brings up your energy levels. You improve your sleep. You get to enjoy more food. You know what I'm saying? You get to be around longer, stronger for your loved ones. You get to inspire other people along your journey. You get to talk about your failures, your successes. But yeah, don't think you're going to get jacked just because you're lifting weights. It's by design, by default, that's not how it's going to go.
So, and here's the thing because tell me if you've heard this and how many times you've heard it because maybe you can be a millionaire off of if you got $1 for every time you've heard it, you probably be a millionaire. Is lifting heavy weights makes like makes women like bulky and too the get past the physiques and the aesthetics that they want. Like how important is actually lifting heavy, lifting for strength, important for aesthetics?
Well, lifting for strength needs to happen because as we get older, our body starts to deteriorate. Again, we can circle back, and as we're getting older, we could say it is a blessing to say that. But again, joint problems, knee problems. How about the people who are having the story of, having the injury and still wanting to push past that. Things get taken from us. So now we need to shift. Now we need to change. Yeah, women need intensity as well, just as much as men do. You know what I'm saying? If you're in that relationship to where you guys are both active and you guys are both healthy, that's beautiful. If you guys different ends of the spectrum, that's perfectly fine. One can motivate the other, like you never know. But both men and women need intense workouts. You know what I'm saying? Some of us need to cut out the noise and we need a good intense workout every now and again. Sometimes every day. It depends on what we're doing and what level we're at. You know what I mean? But yeah, women won't get bulky just by lifting heavy. I don't think so. If they take steroids, if they do anything extra, that's completely different. Genetics could play a factor, but I think by design, I don't think women's bodies are gonna get jacked off of just lifting heavy.
So, have you seen women become more confident mentally after getting stronger physically?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like who doesn't? You know what I'm saying? I can absolutely, bro. I mean, when I spent time doing personal training, that was probably the greatest job I've had. I was there for 4 years, the fastest 4 years of my life, because when you enjoy what you do, time flies. I hate that. But it's, yeah, bro, as they get stronger, and it's not even just, imagine, okay, one client comes to me this week. We're working on something. She's struggling. She's struggling. Next week, we come back to it. She's noticing improvement, improvement. A month passes by. She's able to do twice as much weight, maybe twice as much rep. Now we're just using that as a calculation. We're not using that as just a success. We're just using that as calculation. She gets hype off of that because she's stronger. She's able to do more reps. She's feeling her energy levels shift and change for the better. She's getting more sleep. She's noting the physicality, the fruits of her labor. Maybe her triceps are starting to come in. Her legs are starting to grow. Let's face it, some women want the flat tone, the hips, the butt. We got to focus on these things. You know what I'm saying? Stronger shoulders. So I have noticed women get like they skyrocket in their confidence, bro, when they start to see the change. Not even just a little bit; it's a lot.
And you mentioned that, like how like the path or the journey of confidence is formed. It's from, like, again, like we talked about earlier. We talked about pushing yourself to a limit, but not beyond like the burnout, and then also like not falling underneath that part as well. Again, I use the phrase fancy cardio when you're just lifting weights that are too light, you're not challenging. And so for anyone out there, regardless of who you are, getting stronger can provide so many benefits. Like Martin said, like the sleep is going to help your recovery, just your ability to believe in yourself, like that all shoots up just from something as simple as going to the gym and lifting something heavy, not to hurt yourself but just to make yourself better, um, from
And then
not
just to
just
kind of, oh, go ahead, my bad.
my last point was just like from the inside out. Like it's not like all physical, it's both inside and out.
And I just wanted to piggyback off of that because um, I feel like this industry, when we get into fitness, it's a lot of me, me, me. I want to do this. I want to do, and rightfully so. That's what it is. It's a you versus you type of journey. But also, let's put this selfishness aside, if I can use that word just kind of gracefully and gently, again, because it's such a not look at me, but again, I want to make improvements. A lot of I, right? But imagine for, again, the people that look like you, the people that look up to you, you don't know who's viewing your stuff. You don't know who's following your journey. Again, if you're a family man, if you're a family woman, God calls you to be, physicality needs to be there. We need to be able to stand up and be able to provide. You know what I'm saying? You want to go to the park and play with your children. You want to travel. You can't because you're out of shape, whatever it may be. You can't walk up. I think you had said it. You want to walk up a flight of stairs. You can't. So there goes your purchase on a two-story home. I'm just trying to be funny, but I'm just saying though, like there's a lot of those elements in that perspective. So if we can get the ability to not only have people believe in themselves and bring up that warrior spirit by us living our truth and our testimony and getting them to shift their perspective to not only like it's an I type of thing, but yo, I got my family, my girl, like things I want to do, the whole acting thing, like it calls for a physicality. So yeah, you got to get right, man. Because I will say there is no rush, but at the end of the day, the clock is ticking. The beauty about that is God has given us the ability to make a choice, given us the gift to make a choice. So either say, yes, we can, or yes, we can. So
Man, I'm so glad we got to talk about these myths together because it's all about sharing the knowledge, sharing our experience, and helping each other grow. Which I feel like these myths and you being able to bring the value of the insights and the truths and where can you get tripped up. So hopefully all of our listeners, I know they're going to get value from listening to these myths. And I want to kind of shift gears a little bit now that we're through the myth section of our rundown. I have this section I do in my podcast called Hockey Grounding. Now, hockey, for listeners that aren't aware, that's a reference from One Piece. I'm an anime fan, so I watch a lot of One
Okay.
Piece. So
Sure.
hockey, this hockey grounding is kind of like how to realign yourself, how to recenter yourself. And Martin, I want you to share, you know, what happens to you when like you don't mentally stay grounded. And if you can share like something anecdotal or an experience about how like why grounding is important to you and the ways that you go about it.
Man, I feel like if I don't, because of the things that I'm into, because of the industry that I'm in, anxiety can kind of go up, lack of sleep can go up, like not getting good, comfortable sleep. A lot of things can go haywire. I'll be honest with you. If I don't center myself, um, whether that be in meditation, in a workout, something even more powerful than that I've experienced in myself is man, praying, bro. There's a lot of power in prayer to our Heavenly Father. I'm beginning to understand it's hard for our Heavenly Father to answer prayers when we're not praying to Him. So trying to find whatever that means to me, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, to center myself, to pray, just to be grateful for the day. When I woke up, I'm really trying to like wake up in the morning. I used to be at a point where I used to wake up and before my mind took over,
Mm.
subconsciously, I would already be praising the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Lord, for another day, blessing us with another opportunity. Me and my girl, my dog, of course, blessing us with another opportunity. Um, I want to get back to that. So if I could start my day strong, if I can have multiple check-in points throughout my day to still be thankful, how can I be of service? This is where I'm trying to be at. You know what I mean? I think if I'm able to put myself in the position to be of service, that could become very powerful too. You know what I mean? But you have to find moments in the day to center yourself. Some days are busier than others. And if I don't, man, it can get there, bro. It can get there. You can start second guessing yourself. You can start falling off track. And yeah, I think it's a very powerful tool to have.
Man, and I appreciate your transparency because and I think our listeners today and that listen to this in the future will appreciate that transparency and the honesty of grounding. It has an ing at the end of it, which means it's something you're in process of doing. Grounded is after you've done it, and so you have to do this ongoing. You don't just ground yourself once and you're good for life. If it were that easy, we would all have like stress free lives and all this, but that's not the case. Like you mentioned, the work, the nature of your work can be stressful, causing anxiety, different personal life situations. So you have to be able to continually do this grounding work to help keep you on a good plane of positivity, not let yourself go off on the deep end. So I appreciate you sharing. That's something I'm trying to get to as well. To share a little bit about my own personal efforts for grounding. I'm trying to get up early in the morning. I'm trying to do things to help move my business along, move my efforts to have positive impact. And so one way is like last week is waking up at 4. So that's the goal, waking up at 4 a.m. to get up. And the first thing I do is I try to just not touch my phone. So I have my phone like literally right here. Don't touch the phone. Don't turn on the app. Just sit and meditate. Sit in the silence. Try to listen to these inner thoughts, prayer, and then get into like my business flow. But it has to start somewhere. And I noticed the days I've got up and done that, like it definitely helps my the trajectory of my day. The day is going to be the same. However, I think just a simple thing like getting up at 4 and putting some intentional uh, behaviors in place to help align your thought process, help align your mood, help align your vision. All these things, just like you say, like they ground you. So I appreciate that. And was there a moment where you realize like that grounding was necessary? And if you want to share like a story, you definitely can.
Man, I feel like anytime I've ever had to do an audition, it's so different because once you get booked and once you get cast, like you're in, you know what I'm saying? The material gets sent your way, preparation time, right? When it comes to the audition room, man, there's something that I'm just kind of still, struggling with. I need to let myself go more, man. They send you the material, limited with its audition, maybe like a sheet or two, where they ask you to do a monologue or improvise or whatever. Giving myself the ability to play more, man. You know what I'm saying? Not holding myself back. And this can happen quite often because yes, you want to get the job, you want to eat, you want the ability to cook and do your jam or whatever and have your prep time and showcase your work, but you also want to do the craft of service as well. You want to do it justice as well. It's not just a look, it's not just showing up and memorizing just a few lines. You want to be able to dive in fully. So for me, man, prayer, I pray before every project, man. I pray before every scene, like to the point, like makeup's on, where about to shoot, lights are up, and then it's like they say everything. They'll be like lights, camera, action, so to speak, right? And I'm in my mind, I'm in prayer. I'm like, Lord, like handle this scene, take over the scene. It's a little bit deeper than that, but just to kind of touch the surface there. I do pray before everything, get grounded before everything. I don't say yes to every single project, which unfortunately, if you're somebody who's like that, who really takes a look at their craft seriously, not saying yes or not saying yes to every single project, you might not be working for a while. You might go a few weeks, a few months without booking something. But for me, I feel like I get my bookings from the Lord, from God. It just gets served to me from man or woman. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a brand, I'm an image, I'm a face. I need to be very careful because I understand who I serve. So if I'm on screen playing something like this and it's not serving a good moral to the story, I'm a huge fan of what's the message. You know what I'm saying? If I have to play a bad guy to better tell the tale and the story and the overall message, I'm cool with that. But there are a few things that I'm not willing to play, that I'm not even willing to experiment with. It's like you kind of see the line and I'm not willing to cross it because again, I'm in this because I feel like God is working in me in my heart and this whole artistry thing. You know what I mean? So it may take me a little bit more time. I've been more accepting of that lately, if you will. So
I always say you're going at God's pace, and God's pace
yeah,
is always on time. So I love to hear how you stand up for what you believe in, your values, a man of integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, Martin, it's been so cool to talk to you about everything. And so since we talked about the acting, I think this is a good place to kind of jump off and kind of go into like the fun zone a little bit
I'll
because
do it.
uh yeah, like you were in theater in high school, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So initially started dancing in high school, bro. I don't know, maybe some people have have said this too or whatever, like after graduated and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it was dancing in high school, my freshman year. No, it was the transition from freshman to sophomore year. That summer, I was in the office trying to do the creative arts. But yeah, no, I started with dancing. My brother was the one that was in theater. And before I graduated, I was like, there's no way I'm not going to perform with my twin, with my brother. So there was a theater audition that they were holding. I ended up getting cast as a lead. Didn't know what any of that meant, what lead role, supporting role, extra. I'm like, cool, I just want to act with my brother, bro. Did a horrible job acting, I'm sure, with no experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not no actor at that time. I didn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Coming from a dancing background, so being very open and animated, that's what sometimes dancing on stage asks for or whatever. But yeah, no, it started with dancing. That's where my performance started. The ballet, the jazz, the modern, the contemporary, the hip hop, the tap dancing, and being in it for so long, you get to try so many different styles, so many different cultures and stuff like that. So yeah, It's dancing for me, bro.
Okay, it was dancing. See how memory works? Memory's a it's a tricky thing because that's
It's
how
getting old. No, it's
it,
getting
part of that too, man. Because
for sure.
like as I seen you in your craft, in your area of like passion, all these years, I just like rewrote the script in my mind. I was like, oh yeah, Martin definitely he did theater, but that was your brother. Now that I recall, I'm like, yeah, okay, now I remember. And speaking of like the big screen, what are some projects you've been a part of that were just like, this will go in my, because everyone has works and things they've done in their life, but some of those works mean more than others, and they just kind of keep it in a little vault in their heart or in the back of their mind that this means a lot to me. What's one project that goes in that little chest of yours?
Man, there's a few, bro. I mean, any project that I get asked to do, I'm always thankful because this person is thinking of you. This person is, and creatively, in like an artist standpoint, as they're writing something, maybe they could be thinking of you. So anytime somebody approaches me with anything, I'm super humbled and thankful. You know what I mean? And to answer your question, I have a few projects. I want to list two. The first one is with a great special effects artist. Not only that, a great human and a great friend. His name is robcobasky. I always believe in name dropping. If it's to speak peace, love, and positivity over that person. First of all, Rob is badass, bro. He's super, super badass. I'll have no problem sending you some of his work, but his special effects and the way he makes werewolves and so many other figures. But reason why I wanted to bring that up is because he had asked me, in which I was so freaking humbled because his legendary work for somebody who's coming in acting, who's entry level, he had asked me to collaborate with him. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because literally he put special effects. I had to get a live cast on me. So it's my first time going through something like that. So that experience was freaking cool. Doing the mask, that whole werewolf thing, that probably took, I think, if I'm not mistaken, bro, because as you mentioned, memory just slips. But I think it was like 3, 4 hours just for the mask or whatever. So it's like getting buried alive. And then doing the body and like the back of like the werewolf and the scales and like the ribs being a little caved in, the chest being a little bit more out, the shoulders being a little bit more exaggerated. I find that stuff to be super cool. Like I could nerd out about that, but I think that that's one experience that was super, super cool, bro. Um, yeah, that was really, really badass. And then the other one is the most recent one that I did. Shout out my homie Dante. He's actually he was a music or is a music video producer, director, transitioned to wanting to do film. And he's like, Martin, like I have this idea, this is gonna be my first time shooting something. And I don't know what it is. Like I guess I give off that energy, like I'm down to collaborate with like the newcomers because I still like I'm a newcomer myself. I'm still learning and stuff like that. So but the reason why I'm bringing up Dante is because again, he's a very dope director and a good friend of mine, super awesome, somebody who's hungry and who's got a lot of stories to tell. But I'm a fan of a message. So this project that we last did, titled Knock Knock, I had to play a boyfriend, and what the message really was is what you'll really see. I don't want to give like no spoilers because it's out on YouTube. I can definitely send you the link. Um, but this message is like pretty much for females, for women being followed. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's leaving the mall, leaving work, the club, whatever it may be, and we kind of took it to the extreme to kind of play into that horror element, the horror realm. Um, that was the message behind that. Like, we have to look after our women. We have to protect our women, not just our kids, not just our own, but other women as well, other children as well. That innocence, you know what I mean? Um, so those two projects, like if it's anything with a message and that carries weight, that carries truth, that carries awareness that we need to focus on, that we need to hone in on. It's not just doing all the cool shit. Although the action scenes are dope, the exploding buildings, the machine guns, the fresh cut, the suits, the this, the that, that's always going to be fun. But if there's something that's got more of vulnerability to it, again, awareness and truthness, to me, that's more fun. To me, that's more important. I'll give up the action stuff. I'll give up all the cool shit to focus more on the message. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely. And before I forget, I want you to send me those links. I want to put them in the
sure.
show notes and make sure that people can go check out all the wonderful productions that you've been a part of, and the wolf thing. I think I seen that in the timeline But
Mhm.
if it's okay with you, if I have your permission, it's okay if I shared the photos that you have online of that as a part of the
Yeah,
show.
bro.
Because I
100%. If anything, I was gonna send you some behind the scenes photos, but yeah, bro, 100%. Of
Yeah,
course.
I think it'll be cool visuals to go along it with your story because yeah, when I saw that wolf makeup for the first time, I was like, man, that looks intense. It looks great. Like Rob, he definitely did his thing. Definitely the visuals were it's something like it's like nightmare fuel. Like if you
Yeah, no, for real, bro. It was physicality wise too, just to kind of bring a little fitness element into it. That where I had to get my body because Rob told me, he goes, either I can do this on a mannequin to the head, or not the head, but like do the body and the chest, or I can do it on you. But I need you to come in just a little bit leaner. Now we've already grown comfortability. So he's like, yo, like lose a little bit more weight and then we could work on you. It would be a lot better because when it's ready to get placed on you, if you get way more flexibility as opposed to a mannequin, different body, and then we put it on you, there could be room for error. So bro, my waist, I dropped it down to 29, 30-inch waist. My body fat, crazy. I came in super dehydrated. I was probably 6, 7% body fat. To me, that's pretty low. You know what I'm
yo,
saying? That's
that's
pretty low.
crazy.
Yeah, bro. I was real, and I was in the sauna. I was like, this was like a camp for me. He gave me 2 months to prep, and I was already at a great starting point, which is why I also preach like, if you're always at a good starting ready point, you never have to truly prepare yourself. You just have to dial in the details now. So I was thankful that's where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So I love the physicality of it, bro. If there's a physicality I can bring to a role, whether that's gaining weight, losing weight, hopefully not getting fat. I don't mean getting fat, but if I freaking have to, I will. In a healthy route, I want somebody to monitor and see what we got going on. But again, to shave, beard, no beard, like I'm always down because it just helps, bro. It just helps. And when you put on that mask, bro, it just you let the you bring the acting is gonna bring out like the mask in a sense. I'm trying to word that a little bit better, but like because he's so good at what he does, bro, he puts it on. It's not as much an actor anymore. It just all blends and it comes to life. Like it's his work that I'm trying to give power to. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying in a way?
Absolutely. And the man, I just had a thought. I'm gonna have to come back to it. Oh, there it goes. Thank you for that thought coming back. The nutrition part of it, because we're gonna circle back to that. Because as a physical performer that you are, your nutrition is very important. Because you can go to the gym and exercise, and that can completely be underdone or overdone by your nutrition. So I just want to put that little bookmark there. We'll come back and book in that at the a little bit later, and as we kind of wrap up. But I want to highlight some movies that you were talking to me about. So Logan and Deadpool. I'm a huge fan of Logan. I feel like his on-screen, Hugh Jackman, his on-screen work as Logan, that was one of my big inspirations in high school because you can see his
Oh
journey
yeah.
from like the first X-Men to the time he was kind of like closing out the X-Men series. And this dude was just, he put the Jack in Hugh Jackman because this dude was just like shredded. I wanted to get the shoulders and the triceps just like him. But that's like that's Hugh Jackman. But just like Wolverine, the character, Deadpool, the character, what are some things about these guys that you pull inspiration from?
Man, the commitment to the role, bro. The commitment to the role, not even just the physicality. I mean, in the Wolverine, where literally he goes to Japan and he's dealing with that girl, I forgot her name, but with the red hair, samurai sword. Um, his physicality, and then when he's on screen, bro, just the presence, the conviction, and what he says, and the way he responds, and the way he moves and walks, like, and even in Deadpool, finally got Ryan Reynolds in the role that he was born to play. You know what I'm saying? Breaking the fourth wall, talking his shit, making his jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like literally talking shit to the bad guys as he's getting stabbed. Like, and then we got the best of both worlds, Deadpool and Wolverine, bro. We've been waiting for that. The iconic yellow suit, Sabretooth coming back. Thinking that Captain America, or what do you call it? Steve, I forgot his name, bro. Chris, I forgot his last
Yeah,
name, but
Chris Evans.
you think he's back as Captain America, and then he's like Flame On, and he's, you know what I'm saying, Johnny Storm again. It's like, what the heck? So, but it's the enjoyment as being a fan, bro. It's exactly that, bro. It's being kids. Now I have the ability to do this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sure that that's on a big scale, a bigger scale. We're talking about Marvel, bro, but don't think for 1 second that that's not within reach, bro. Like in my mind, in my world, and the God that I serve, bro, let me put in the hard work, let me put in the time, let me put in the discipline, bro. And if it's meant to be, it will happen. You know what I'm saying? And Wolverine's my favorite Marvel character. Like Wolverine, Deadpool, Frank Castle, Nightcrawler's one of my favorites. He's not talked about enough.
Mm.
But yeah, bro, I think it's just their commitment and their ability to give the fans what they want, bro. Give the kids what they want, and that's what it should be about.
Absolutely ditto everything. Those are some of my favorites too.
Oh
Not
yeah.
no comments added to that for me because I'm like I agree with 100%. Um, and so speaking of the that impact and like the commitment to the role, and you just mentioned a little bit like the spirituality aspect. You mentioned another great movie that I don't think gets talked about enough, and that's the Book of Eli.
Oh yeah.
Uh, when you mentioned that movie in our kind of our text messages going back and forth, that made me go down memory lane. I was just like, man, that was such an awesome movie. It was a post-apocalyptic scene, and you have Denzel that's on a mission. I forget the guy's name that he played. I haven't watched in a while. You probably know better than me, but he's
I
on
forgot the
this.
name too. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I gotta have to
he
look it up.
he's on this mission to basically bring the last like known Bible back to a place where they can get it printed for mass distribution. But you don't realize that the whole time, like that the book, like spoiler alert, the book's in Braille, and also he memorized the whole entire thing, which is just like mind blowing plot twist at the end that there was a person like so dedicated to their mission that it literally was like ingrained in every fiber of his mind and soul, and he was willing to lay down his life for that mission. So just that conviction of character to stick to his purpose. So I guess what is that something that you pull from? I guess what do you take from that personally? Like why does that movie resonate with you?
Well, I love that, bro, because any way to stop the truth, Gary Oldman's character was trying to do so. I don't know if you remember Gary Oldman in that movie. His character was trying to get that for himself. Now, I don't know if it's the enemy trying to get it, to manipulate it, to profit, to divide, to conquer, you know what I'm saying? But there's always that there. So who are you serving? Who are you going to fight for? Who are you fighting with? If you're going to show up to the person that brought you to the dance, guess what? You leave. You got to leave with that person. You know what I'm saying? Don't switch up because we're here now. You know what I'm saying? So with Denzel, I mean, first of all, anything Denzel Washington does is 10 out of 10, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure anybody could attest to that. He's so badass. You know what I'm saying? A legendary with his stuff. But his character, yeah, exactly what you said. Really standing on truth, willing to protect that book and give his life up for it. And to some extent in that film, not to give a spoiler, he does. He does, you know what I'm saying, take some hits, get some falls, but also messes some people up along the way. We are called to do that. That's the thing, no matter what. Like if you are called in truth, if you are a believer, you understand like we are fighting the good fight, that there are going to be forces out there, spirituality, like the spirits out there, the enemy out there, if you will. You can dive even deeper if you want, but I'll just keep it as that, just the enemy that will be trying to stop you. You know, haters, if they will, they come in many forms, shapes, and fashions. But yeah, man, that's why it is seek today our daily bread. I'm kind of going on a tangent because it's seek today our daily bread. It's the word daily, not weekly, not monthly. If it's monthly, then all right, I'll check in with you next month, Lord. I'll check in with you next week. But
Hmm.
no, as much as we are in the flesh and we can't get out of it, that's why the Lord understands, like, yo, seek me daily and I will guide you. You know what I mean? So, and it's something I'm trying to work on, not something I have down. I'm human too. I go through it too, you know? So,
Martin, I feel like you're like you coming up with the perfect segues for each big section. I just want to give you like a high five award because you've been able
yeah,
to provide all these awesome segues. It makes my job super easy.
making the transitions easy. Let's go.
This
You know?
that's how you know Martin's like a true master of his craft because I provided you a script and just like a true craftsman and a master of their craft, you know where the script's going, and so you set up the next lines for me, your co-host, your co-stage, partner, like very beautifully. So
And it makes
speak.
it even better that we're boys, bro. And then we grew up with each other. Like this wasn't gonna be that hard, you know?
Absolutely, like this is awesome. And speaking of our daily bread, we we know about Dragon Ball Z, right? We know about Goku. We know about Gohan. I'm looking at Vegeta. I got a couple Vegetas over here. That's my guy. I got him over here, and I also got my brother.
Go, dude. Hell yeah.
So, okay, quick side tangent. We all know that Goku is like the ideal person that we're trying to strive for. He's literally Mr. Perfect, never lost kind of archetype. But then we have the Vegeta archetype, which is the imperfect man. He's taken his L's. He's had to lick his wounds. He's had to look himself in the mirror after doing things that were beneath his values and beneath his character, but to come back as a full story arc to have like that redemption. Vegeta's the person that I feel like we can all relate to if we're in that part of our journey of self improvement, sticking to our true roots as individuals, striving for perfection. Like we may not ever reach Mr. Perfect or be Goku, but I think everyone could be Vegeta and relate to Vegeta. So that's my little side tangent. But speaking of Dragon Ball Z and our daily bread, this next section is called our daily sensu bean. So on this section, we talk about practical nutrition recommendations or misconceptions about a specific area of nutrition and just highlight it. So this will be one of the last questions, and then I'll give you that ending question too. But what's like one practical nutrition recommendation you have or misconception about nutrition?
Yeah, the first one, literally before you even asked it, just started brewing in my head. Eating more food will get you bigger. Yes, it will. Absolutely. But what type of quote unquote bigger are you going for? Because a lot of people could eat burgers and chips and fries and pizza and still gain the weight, not understanding that their heart's at, heart's at bay, their liver, their intestines, things like that, their gut, if we may. Um, yeah, you gotta eat clean, man. It's not hard. Don't stress yourself out about a diet. Stop stressing yourself out about a diet. Just make healthy, conscious decisions throughout your day. That's all it is. If you have the ability and have the time to meal prep, good, do so. If you don't have the time to meal prep, I think you should make the time to meal prep because the last thing you want to worry about when you're at work or your lunch is, oh man, what food, what this, what that. Like I don't want to have to make those decisions if I could just prevent them by extra time in the kitchen or planning a little bit ahead. Like again, everybody's got 24 hours in a day. But the myth that I want to tackle, bro, is like stop loading up on the junk food. Eat healthy, eat clean, build your body correctly. It may take you a little bit longer because a lot of adjustments need to be made, but understand the word lifestyle. It's a change. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. The word perfection, keep that in a healthy way in your pocket. Don't stress yourself out about it. Don't starve yourself out, like starve yourself about it. You know what I mean? Perfection doesn't exist. Perfection will never exist. If anything, I'm going to dive way off the truth end here, but perfection came down in the form of man and we crucified perfection. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to just say that right then and there. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, eat healthy, eat clean. Don't stress yourself out about a diet. You can simply get away with steamed white rice. You can do your forms of protein if it let it be steak, beef for the reds, shredded beef, whatever. Any form of steak, chicken, or fish. What I'm a huge fan of, what my body works well on, again, just because I'm trying stuff and like just keeping track. I do okay with the reds, not a lot. My body doesn't do well with a lot of steak, for example, but it does good with a lot of fish. Do I like fish? No, but season it up a little bit, add a little lemon or lime, little like parsley, for example. It changes it up a little bit. It makes it more flavorful, and then I get to enjoy it. So, but the longer you spend taking a look at your foods, man, the longer you spend in the kitchen, like it's an enjoyment. You never know. You might mess around and actually find something that you actually enjoy now if it's cooking, so
Yeah, I like what you said there about it's not about perfection, and I can definitely connect with that idea as a dietitian. I'm helping people understand that healthy eating is not just what they kind of promote on TV or the different popular fad diets. It's about what you can sustain. Ultimately, if you can sustain it and helps you feel good, helps your body perform better, and it's foods you enjoy, you have a preference for, those are those three rules I talk about with my clients. If you can do those three things, you'll be much further ahead than what you'd ever imagine because you're doing it in a way that's sustainable.
Right.
You're
Let's stop
looking,
going to Taco Bell. Let's start making tacos. Like
yeah,
for real.
yeah, and it's the idea of just being creative. Like you're not confined to a box. You don't need to be locked in through a drive-through. Like you can take the risk, you can take a gamble, making something at home and seeing if it works for yourself. And if the worst thing happened, you don't like it, hey, at least you had the experience. You can learn from that. You can go back and say, okay, maybe not this much salt, or maybe a different type of meat, or whatever the case may be, because you're able to control those ingredients and make them sustainable and overall benefit your body. So I love that you
Absolutely.
brought that up.
And then fasting is also a powerful tool if used correctly. If you know how to fast, again, this isn't starving yourself. It's walking a fine line through starvation, but understanding the power in fasting. First of all, the misconception on fasting. I probably should have sent you that. First and foremost, fasting was created not just to lose weight, but it's to empty yourself. But again, if you're emptying, I'm not having trouble saying that word. If you're doing that,
Mm-hmm.
it's got to go somewhere. So, what's fasting for? Fasting's for God. All this is connected in one way, shape, or form with me and my life. It's right back to God, giving God all the glory, giving grateful, like being grateful that I'm his child, that he's watching me. Like, you know what I mean? Fasting, you have to have the ability to know what it's for. The the additional pros you'll get from fasting is sure you're going to lose a little bit of body fat, you're detoxing your body a little bit, but ultimately it is for the Lord. You know what I'm saying? It's to empty yourself as much as you can so you can gain something, not in a transactional type of situation, but that's the God that we serve. You know what I'm saying? He will give if we give. So
Man, more nuggets of wisdom.
I don't mean to
So
get preachy, bro. I don't know how it always happens like that. It just always becomes preachy some way somehow, and I don't mean for it to. But yeah,
so my grandma has this saying. She's like, whatever is in you, it's gonna come out.
and that's the truth. I can't help it sometimes, and I love all grandmas, bro, because man, are they the wisdom tellers, bro? They know everything, man. Perfection, grandmas, for sure.
Absolutely. So no such thing as sounding too preachy. We have a message to share. You have a message to share, and you shared like a message upon message. I feel like each topic that you brought up could have its own book, its own movie, its own cool character
Crazy, but thank
playing.
you, bro. That's awesome.
So definitely you've exceeded my expectations on what you're able to share. Again, here on the Gamma Wave podcast, we're trying to help our listeners and help ourselves stay on this path to unlocking our full potential, unlocking our flow state, and just living in our purpose, living in our passion at the highest level. That's really what it's all about. And so our faith is intersected with that. Our values, our physicality, our mental domain, like all that is intertwined because nothing is truly isolated in life. Everything's connected. And the sooner you realize and the deeper you realize that everything's connected, you can just move through fully integrated. I think Martin has shared through the testimony of his life that it's really about integrating everything to get the most out of it, and also just going at the pace that life unfolds in front of you. We're not trying to rush things, and we're not going to dilly dally and take our time, but we're just going to go at the pace that God has put before us. So on this last question here, and again, thank you so much, Martin, for just the time that you spent, the the experiences you shared, the value. I just really appreciate that from brother to brother. I appreciate that,
Of
man.
course, bro. All the love, man. I'm again super excited to be here, and actually excited that you're taking on this endeavor, bro. I mean, what you're trying to do here, I think, is really, really nice. It's fantastic. I think men need to sit around other men and let's talk about what's been going on. Vulnerability. I'm a huge men's well, I'm a huge like mental health advocate. Period. Specifically, more so for men as well. I understand that men don't have the resources, the influence, or even just the environment or community. That's another word, community, to share what they got going on. So right back at you, bro. Round of applause to you for starting this, for you taking time and being vulnerable, and also sharing your story as well.
That's how we let people know that they're not alone. Our community is not just a zip code we live in. It's much broader if we
Love
just
that.
open our eyes and see like what's really around us and listen. So, this last question I have for you is, if there's a young person listening that feels lost physically, mentally, or spiritually, what would you want them to hear?
What would I want them to hear? Um, I don't want them to try and listen to God's voice. Sometimes in this noisy world, in this busy world, in this chaotic world, it gets very loud. I would suggest for them to pray before anything. Find out your reasons why God has you here. Everybody has an assignment. Everybody has the ability to make change. God will more than likely he put you in a position. He might give you what you're asking for. So just be ready for it. Pray and prep. Now it is something that we have to practice, that we have to get skillful with daily. Somebody that I would suggest who's younger than me is do not give into your fear. Do not give into what the enemy tries to tell you. Do not give into your thoughts, because sometimes what you may be thinking is your thoughts. It's not. Be careful what you confirm and what you affirm and what you try to um, discern as well. Not to like rhyme, but discernment is a powerful thing as well. You know what I'm saying? Understanding who's speaking to you. You know what I mean? The more you pray, the more you get in line, the more you pick up your cross and become more Christ-like, the more the enemy's not going to like that. So be very careful. Be very careful. This walk ain't easy, but it's definitely worth it. Um, there are daily practices to give us that reminder that it's not going to be so bad, and that the victory is already won in the end.
Hmm.
This is just something that we have to go through. The younger person, I would also suggest or let them know that you can, no matter what your goals are, don't let anybody tell you anything. You know what I'm saying? If you pray, it's between you and God, nobody else. There are going to be people that fall off. There are going to be certain jobs you're going to have to move, you know, away from or quit or relocate or whatever. There are going to be certain relationships, boyfriend, girlfriends that you're going to have to split or that you're going to have to connect with. So it's a lot of things, but one thing I want to end it on is don't be afraid to pray. Don't be ashamed to pray. And again, it's very hard for God to answer prayers when there aren't people praying to him. Don't think that God's far at all. When you feel that God is furthest, the complete opposite. If he's omnipresent at all places at all times, and he's with you at all times. God is also a God that keeps his promises to his children. And I do feel, bro, 2026, that there is a revival happening. All of God's children are returning back to him, and I find that to be very powerful. Like to the point where I'm going to say it again. I really do feel that in 2026, bro, all of God's children are returning back to him. Don't be
Yep.
ashamed. Don't be afraid. You know what I mean? Don't think like, oh, because I've done X, Y, and Z, I can't go back to God. If anything, God is calling you to come back exactly the way you are. There is no ready. There's just right now. I have to end it there, man, because I could keep going, bro. But I
Oh,
think I'm gonna
I'm just
have
soaking it in. That was a very very powerful message. Like I literally have
to the point
like
where I'm like
chills
almost
going
out
down
of
my
breath,
back.
bro.
Well, that's what, like I said, like what did grandma say? Whatever's in you is going to come out. And I literally had like chills go down my go down my spine. I have goosebumps on my forearm
Shout
just
out
listening
grandma,
to that.
bro. Shout out grandma.
Shout out to you, man. Like your message and everything that you had to say definitely resonates on so many levels that even though we have a 30-hour a limit on this Zoom, I don't think 30 hours is even enough to talk about all that.
We can
So,
definitely get a part two. I'm definitely open to that, bro, for sure. As we do more, as we collab more, as we create more, and again, allow God and life to kind of put everything into place, I'm super down for that, bro.
Me too. Let's get that down because I really, like I said, I feel like your message, that's what we need. We need to hear that there's you're deserving of redemption. You're deserving of reclaiming your path, your purpose, no matter what happened in the past, because of the God that we serve, the God that we believe in. Anything is possible. Like literally, all possibilities are possible. You just have to think it. And this will be my last quick little sermon, little whatever. It's been in my mind lately because we think about our path and where it's at presently, and we think that we can't access or even reach the place we want to go. However, that can't be furthest from the truth because it starts in your mind. If you can just start changing your thoughts, you'll be transformed. It literally says that in the Bible. If you can transform your mind, you can transform your reality. But it's a continual process. We've hit on that theme regularly throughout this recording about it's a daily thing you show up and do. Just like the scripture says, you're transformed by the renewing of your mind. It has the ing at the end, which means you need to do it continually. So do that. All the listeners out there, you're not alone. You have people like me and Martin where we're not saying we're perfect. We're striving towards perfection. But if this message and this conversation has inspired you, the best thing you can do with that inspiration is at least change your mind. And if you want to take it a step further, act on the new mindset you have. Don't be afraid. Like Martin said, there's no such thing as fear. Don't let the fear stop you. And I'm gonna stop right there because I can just keep going too.
No, for sure. That's amazing, bro. And again, what did grandma say? No, I'm just kidding. But no, for real though, for sure, bro. It's the truth, man. Sometimes we don't feel we have enough time to talk about the truth, or the truth is not talked about enough, man. And again, there is no perfection here. There is no strive for being perfect. There's only striving for being good. You know what I mean? And that can also take me into a little segue of like, we're putting so many people in the great category and like, they're not even good, bro. Let's be real. Let's give people some more time to fail. And first of all, it's in the Bible to not do not be afraid. You know what I'm saying? And along with that is don't be afraid to fail. The whole confidence stems from failure over and over and over again and over and over again. That's just what it is. You're going to get way more confident the more times you fail. And it's not going to be a failure every time. You're going to get some hits. You're going to get some successes. You're going to be able to do a few more reps. You're going to stay a little bit longer in the sauna or stay in that run or that uncomfortability a little bit longer. It's what you said, shifting that perspective, shifting that mindset, holding every thought captive because not everything you think, which is very hard to do, by the way, something I'm struggling with, but holding your thoughts captive. Not everything you think is yours. Not every thought you think is yours. Taking it to the Lord. Lord, I'm having these thoughts. I'm having this. What's going on over here? You know what I'm saying? And he'll clarify it for you. He'll give you that, you know what I'm saying, that information back, and you'll know exactly what to do with it. Sometimes you have to give it time. Sometimes it is immediate. Sometimes it happens in 15 minutes. That's I don't want to put no time limit on nothing. Again, if we give God something, God will give us something in return.
I'm gonna insert claps right there.
Let's go. Little snaps, or what do they do
Let's
nowadays? All that extra stuff.
go.
Yeah, little snaps and claps.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, guys, you've been listening to another episode of the Gamma Wave podcast with your
Yes, sir.
host, Caleb Wilson, and special guest, Martin James. Thank you, guys. We'll see you the next time.
Appreciate you guys. Yes, sir.